Oh, what am I doing? I wasn't doing anything. I was just with my e-girlfriend. We're in love. We are, really. We love each other. She gets me, and I get her. And I love her, and she loves me. We love each other. I love her. I love her. You see, I come from a generation of pain where microplastics have shrunken my balls and have robbed me from a thick beard that my father's generation used to have. I come from a generation where we not only overdiagnose autism, but we engineer it from scratch. I come from a generation where it seems like just yesterday that we were picking our nose and running into poles, but now we're all individually eating at separate lunch tables, staring awkwardly at everybody as if they were out to get us and go back home and jerk off to our 2D girlfriends. So I wonder, how did we get here? By the time you hit puberty, you're supposed to start living life for the first time. You start understanding your place in the world, thinking about things critically, and creating the building blocks of who you'll become in the future. But a lot of kids now don't even get to do that, because instantly, the moment they turn 12, they get a $2,000 gaming PC, and boom, the next 10 years of their life is spent on that computer. Obviously, it's your fault that you chose League of Legends at 12, but you didn't have a choice. Your life probably sucked. You probably grew up ugly, people didn't respect you. Whatever the reason might be, you chose to run away. But your escape turned into degeneracy, and now you're jerking off to the English dub of Himeno grooming a minor. What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? I remember when I was 14, my parents sent me to a therapist because of my League of Legends addiction, and I finally went to one, but the therapist didn't understand my problem. He didn't get my loneliness. He didn't get it. Let's see here. No girlfriend? Understandable, I guess. Those are pretty difficult to get. Let's see. You're a virgin? Not even a side thing? None of that? No casual? None of that? Okay. You said, "Where's my hug at?" to your crush at 14, and it's all the romantic experience you've ever had? You skipped homecoming to run a 20-mile marathon? Oh my god! After the interaction with the therapist at 16, I remember I took it very personally, and I ended up doing everything that he kind of judged me for. But I know a lot of you can't do that. So I'm going to try to explain why you can't, and why you're still a bitch and have no friends. Oh, those goddamn fucking kids. Fuck those kids. Fuck them. The reason it feels so hard to participate in society after all those years of League of Legends or whatever you ran away with is because you've imposed a sort of retardation spell on yourself. You didn't teach your brain proper social interaction at a young age because you might have been afraid of getting bullied or whatever. And so now your brain doesn't have the information that regular socialized people have, and therefore fails to function properly, and in some cases sees social interaction as a threat that you need to run away from. I like to call this phenomena engineered autism, because the result of playing League of Legends is things that autistic people have, but instead of it being a neurological condition that you're born with, it's engineered by an individual's surroundings. So how do you fight engineered autism in the brain? The first thing you need to realize is that engineered autism is a state of mind that, unlike real autism, can be reversed. But the reversal process is incredibly difficult, to the point that most people that suffer from engineered autism will never be cured because the condition has already been etched deep into the crevice of their brain, and you can't pick it out, right? Because it's really hard. Right? It's not like it's cancer. Cancer is pretty easy. You just go to chemotherapy. But to dig out the autism cancers from your brain, that's a lot more difficult because it's also not societally acceptable either. In a lot of ways, having cancer is better than having engineered autism because people will want to help you if you have cancer. People with engineered autism don't get any help. Everyone thinks they're weird. They'll just want to stay away from them forever. They're kind of like pedophiles in a way. Because as a society, we're so terrified of pedos that we're not even gonna help them. They're gonna keep fucking the kids because it's a neurological condition, but we're not even gonna try to get a cure in because we're so disgusted. You get what I'm trying to say? The typical engineered autistic person wants to change. You know, they want to make friends, they want a fulfilling life, maybe even a lover even, but they can't because after a certain point of being engineeredly autistic, it becomes impossible to get out of this cycle of ineptitude. The cycle of ineptitude goes like this. You enter the cycle by becoming so autistic that you can't socialize normally. And then on the off chance when someone decides to start a conversation with you, you can't respond normally and come off incredibly weird, which makes you even more inept because they don't like you. And then the cycle repeats again and again. And that's all you will be for the rest of your life. Now, it might seem like I'm painting engineered autistic people as victims that need others to save them, which they do, don't get me wrong. But this is why it's your fault that you can't change. The reason it's your fault is because most engineered autistic people are actually incredibly unbearable to be around. You're insecure about yourself. Don't just create a negative perception of yourself, but also creates a negative perception of the world around you, which makes you unbearable and scary to the hoes. And through this state of mind, you say dumb autistic shit, not only about yourself, but others around you, which makes you unlikable and weird, not because you mean to hurt them, but because your mind, when it has no time to think, when it's in conversation, will rely on its natural state of being. What I mean by this is that if you spend your whole life consuming red pill content, inevitably when you're kicking it with a hoe, you're gonna ask her what her body count is, because that's all you think about, and any semblance of sexual attraction that she might have had will disappear. This is why at its surface, self-improvement is also a cope.
Would you penetrate yourself?
For a lot of people, self-improvement only inhibits the loser in them and is a way to shove their insecurities down because you have a slightly better looking body and you're in a quick buck reselling products from China. However, at its core, it's designed for people that are antisocial and have no friends to cope with how pathetic they really are. I'm not talking about the actual self-improvement red pill content creators like Hamza and Andrew Tate that tell you to go on NoFap and find God and say no to degeneracy, because they themselves have the balls to go out and go clubbing and dig their face into stinky holes in prostitutes and then came out of it regretting their degeneracy for clout. I'm talking about their fans that will never go out and do any of the things that they did because they don't have the balls to fuck a prostitute raw. They don't have the balls to get their asshole fucked. Get pegged. They hide under the self-improvement and red pill ideologies because they've justified in their mind that the coolest way to say you get no bitches is by saying that you're focusing on yourself. Actually, what the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? Like, actually, what the fuck are you doing? I'm serious. What is this? Is this like a get over it? Get over it, you fucking pussy. Pussy, get over it. I understand, right? It is difficult. Social anxiety is terrible. But like, don't you want your genitals touched by anyone other than yourself? You know, they don't have to be beautifully, absolutely perfect in the face. What about just some girl? What about that girl that you know that wouldn't mind going on a date with you? What about her? Why don't you want her to touch your genitals and you touch hers maybe? And you know, you guys feel something other than whatever you feel when you play League. I don't know. Don't you want that? Don't you want to exchange the touching of genitals? I don't know. Listen, it's not just model bitches on my genitalia. I love fat hoes too. I don't mind. You know, a model shorty isn't gonna come around every day, right? Just like a fat bitch. Fat bitches and model shorties, they have the same occurrence rate in the world. If a model bitch is 1 in a million, fat hoes are 1 in a million too. They're like the LeBron James of women. Another thing is, I think people need to respect their youth more. They need to respect being young and making mistakes and learning from them. People don't understand that eventually they'll get older and eventually they'll die. People don't seem to get that, especially at my age. They don't really understand that they're gonna die. Well, they do. You know, they talk about stoicism and memento mori, all these fancy buzzwords that TikTok made viral, but they don't really get it. They don't really get it. They don't really understand. They don't.